Hey, I'm Ray Parker. I play Darth Maul, the Phantom Menace, and Solo, a Star Wars story, and G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, and you're listening to Disney Universe Podcast.
We would be honored if you would join us.
To infinity and beyond!
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another fun Star Wars Month episode. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, perfect timing with the crickets. And since we're on YouTube, what are we drinking today?
The Kessel Run Crusher Hazy IPA from Slice.
Nice.
Get a load of those star hops, baby.
Very cool.
On there. Rebellions are built on hops. Oh yeah.
Yes, they are. So how is that? And Slice is a local brewery up here in the Sacramento area, out of Lincoln, just north where I'm at right now.
Yeah, they had this and Roger IPA. Oh, so you got the sticker. You must have got some of them.
Yeah, well, I got the sticker from our good friend Christian, our local buddy here. He grabbed me a sticker.
Did you not get the beers?
I haven't been up there yet. It's been a wacky.
Well, that was the one from the Roger.
Yeah, so
both very tasty. Very
cool and very fun. Star Wars beers been popping up.
Did you get the Mangolorian yet?
Mangolorian.
I've been. It's been busy, man. But I did get the Jedi Mind Haze from
the Jedi Mind Trip.
Mind Trip. Sorry, from Burning Barrel, Alex's spot, along with a great collaboration with Rip Beer Co., who we love down in Huntington. So. And there's tons of beer, Star Wars beers. We have our, little side tangent. Me and Alex have a Facebook page called Hop Wars. It's where beer drinking Star Wars fans can kind of gather and share some of their favorite Star Wars beers and possibly events coming up soon. But we'll find out later on. But we are back with another fun episode, this time discussing the 45th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. I was going to start off with saying my all-time favorite Star Wars movie, but that, I couldn't put out the words as I drove back from LA today and a little fuzzy in the brain. I'm a little hazy in the head right now, but of course, I'm excited to talk about this. I'm excited to have the crew here. So what have you guys been up to during the Star Wars month between our shows?
I planned a trip to go to Galaxy's Edge, so that's pretty exciting. One last trip before little Walt gets here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that the name?
Yeah, Walter.
Oh, you found, yes. Congrats.
Yeah.
Right on.
Got it before you guys took it.
What was that?
Got it before you guys had kids and took it.
Oh, yeah. Well, who says we can't have 3 Walts running around?
Ooh.
So
Start a hockey team.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I don't know if Walter Watson's going to fly.
Oh, yeah, that might be too much.
But what have you been up to, Alex, Star Wars wise or anything?
Just, going around and collecting the Infinity Stones that are Star Wars beers, or at least anything I can get my hand and then mouth on. And they have been good. The ones I've gotten, I, kind of last momently tried to reach out to some places on through Instagram across the country who are having some cool looking releases. I'm looking at you, RAR Brewing, and your, what is it, deep fried porg. That's very interesting and had a cool glass. So yeah, as always, if you happen to be hearing or seeing this and you see some Star Wars beers in your neighborhood, shoot us a holler, because I got some beers to trade with you. I mean, maybe not in a month or two, but we'll be ready for next May the 4th for sure.
Yeah, and I was eyeballing you guys over there in Tactical in Orlando because you guys had some awesome ones. They even had like a Darth Jar Jar one going on too. So, but
it's untapped.
Yeah, exactly. It's untapped. It was awesome. But before we get talking to and me, I've just been watching Andor. That little nugget, and we are going to be breaking down the entire season finale and season of Andor next week with a special guest, friend of the show, and DU crew member John, who will be talking about ICC Con in Nashville, a convention that we all have yet to get to, but I know we all want to go. So it seems to be
He's closer. He's closer.
Yeah, a little bit closer. So
John at the con, a new segment.
But definitely pay attention to our socials because we are kind of aiming on that being a live show. So we'll know for sure very shortly. But I am going to tease one little thing right now that we will announce officially in that show. But we have recorded with an amazing Star Wars, I'll say talent. Is that fair to say right now?
Yeah.
Should I go deeper or not yet? I don't know. But we'll just say a fan favorite of the Star Wars community.
Hopefully if you're following us on socials, you'll have figured it out by the time you see this. But we're going to continue dropping hints through Instagram. And by the time you join us live to break down Andor and talk about ICCCon, we will reveal our big grand finale for our Star Wars Month episodes, which we were very excited to record. It was a blast. And of course, we've already put out on our socials that we are asking for any of your Star Wars pictures, whether it's you and your family at the parks, watching the movies, just wearing your favorite Star Wars outfit, anything you got, because we want all of our Disney universe, our DU crew, everybody who's a part of this podcast. We want you guys to be part of this finale of the Star Wars Month. So make sure you send those in to us. We have a post on our Instagram page right now. You can send it through DM, through Instagram, through Facebook Messenger, or to the email attached to our account. So go check out that post. Send those in because we're excited to tag those onto that episode with a super duper galactic special guest. I was trying to put something appropriate in there, but I don't want to give it away yet.
Yeah, me too. But something with, like I said, we had a blast, and it's just surreal. And one more thing, I have an unboxing video that I need to finish editing, but it's one of my things. I've been collecting these Micro Galaxy Squadron ships, and it's just it was a special edition one that came out, so I'll be posting that. Actually, it's short enough for it'll be here on YouTube as well as on our Instagram. I think it'd be fun to kind of double dip on there. So, but before we get to talk about Empire Strikes Back, we could not do this show on YouTube or on the podcast without some very special people. Who are those people?
That's the greatest people in the galaxy, the DU crew. We love the Disney Universe crew. And for those who aren't already in the know, those are our patrons. Shows like us really love and appreciate the support of our listeners and viewers. So if you want to join the DU crew, the best crew in the galaxy, go over to patreon.com/DU crew to join the amazing likes of Wedge Antilles, John Z. We got Alfredo, Tyler, King of the Bags, Florida Jen, Salah, MJ 1995, and local legend, Jacob. We still need to go play Larcana.
Yes.
Maybe we'll go play Star Wars Unlimited too. Who knows?
Definitely get into that.
Plug on that.
And
I'll try and do that for Star Wars Month. Get some Star Wars Unlimited in.
Yeah, and I forgot to pull up the video, but I'll bring it up shortly. But if you're new to the show and kind of coming in through these Star Wars Month episodes and want to be like, I actually want to listen to those guys and whatever else they talk about, where can they find us there, Ryan?
Well, you guys can head over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and look up the Waltz Apartment Production, and we are one of the many shows on there. Usually have a few shows a month talking about Disney, Marvel movies, more Star Wars, maybe a little HHN this year, if I can convince Joey to do a little HHN show. But yeah, I'm sure we're going to talk about that new Jack Skellington face at the parks. That I didn't even when I watched that this morning, I was like, I thought it was like an animated trailer. And then when I woke up, I was like, oh no, that's the new look. So I'm sure we'll chat about that, some of the 70th food a little bit when we get back to our regular shows next month. But yeah, head over, check us out, give us a subscribe, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing about that, Jack, I've been saying it's about time. The other one was looking a little dated for a while, so
just a little bit.
But we did. Alex mentioned our DU crew and interacting. Well, we did a giveaway, and we talk about Lorcana a lot, which we'll be doing a Lorcana show next month. But we had a giveaway for one of our signed James Mulligan cards, and one of our DU crew members, Wedge Antilles, won it in our randomizer wheel, and I sent it out to him, and he also sent this little video to us that he made in appreciation. So
cool.
Plus this Wedge Antilles card, I threw that in from Star Wars Unlimited and some of our Hotbox Goat stickers. So he sent this little video on his socials, and I know Alex really digs the stand that he used.
Yeah, it wouldn't be appropriate for Lorcana, but it's awesome. It's another reason why I might get into Star Wars Unlimited, just to use that stand.
Yeah. So congratulations, sir. Glad you won, and glad you loved your prize. So yes. But before, let's get into, I always start before. That's kind of my segue, even though there's no segue to really get into. Before we get to talking about Empire, let's see what people in 1980 were seeing in anticipation of this iconic.
Do you want to do this first, or you want me to do the scroll?
Oh, the what?
I got the scroll.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Hit it.
In my scroll voice, I like to read it like they do in Clone Wars. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. It is a dark time for the rebellion. Although the Death Star has been destroyed, Imperial troops have driven the rebel forces from their hidden base and pursued them across the galaxy. Evading the dreaded Imperial Starfleet, a group of freedom fighters led by Luke Skywalker have established a new secret base on the remote ice world of Hoth. The evil Darth Vader, obsessed with finding young Skywalker, has dispatched thousands of remote probes into the far reaches of space.
Might be one of the best crawls out of the saga films.
It's a good crawl. Super ellipsis at the end, those extra dots just gets you right into the, right into those probes dotting across the galaxy.
Yeah, when they hit the cap locks at certain times, it's important.
Oh, no, I always say you have to yell when the caps are in there.
Yeah, exactly. So, I felt like I should have accompanied you with a little John Williams music in the background. So, but here is the teaser trailer that came out back in 1980. You can hear the.
Oh yeah, I love it. You can see the.
A long time ago, in a
screen.
far, far away. Luke, Han, and the Princess's story didn't end with the destruction of the Death Star. It continues in The Empire Strikes Back. The next chapter in the Star Wars saga. An epic of alien worlds. And the climactic clash between good and evil. Join the further adventures of Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, C-3PO, R2-D2, and Chewbacca in a spectacular new episode of the continuing Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back. Coming to your galaxy this summer.
I wonder how many people were like, "Who the fuck is Lando Calrissian?"
Yeah.
Continuing Adventures. I don't remember this brother in the first one.
Is that the dude? Is that Gale?
And introducing with like a Buddy Christ.
Yeah, it's like is that Gale Sayers from Brian's song? What's he doing in that movie?
Well, it's just
but-
everyone else had previously shown up except for him. So I'm glad that he received billing, but a little more clarification may have been needed.
Yeah, well, granted, back in those days there wasn't really spoiler alerts kind of stuff for hidden castings, but now and there's actually another teaser trailer, but the entire had the music and the narration, but it was still so early they didn't have any of the clips, so they actually used Ralph McQuarrie concept art in the trailer. I thought it was kind of cool, but it was kind of, we like to see the faces and stuff and everything, but no, this was the continuing story of what we got in A New Hope, or what was originally called just Star Wars. So this is the first movie I actually saw in the theater, but I was 2 years old, so I don't remember anything of it. So growing up, this was mashed in my memory with Star Wars or A New Hope, even though I remember seeing A New Hope for the first time on HBO. But everything else with, like, I thought Luke Skywalker, how he got the X-Wing was from, that from the swamp. That's how he got it, and everything. But I always know that, and we'll get into it, like specifics and stuff. But for the longest time, this has been my favorite Star Wars movie for many reasons. And I mean, I think A New Hope is pretty much a damn near perfect film. And the fact that this can eclipse it on so many levels too is, I think, very incredible. So but like I said, I mean, you guys remember the first time you saw it, or the first time it really got kind of got made notice of Empire Strikes Back?
I'm pretty sure this was the first Star Wars movie I watched, because my stepdad had that box set of the black and gold, that pack with Vader. And I'm pretty sure this is the first one I watched, but I know it's the one I watched the most. But yeah, that was like my first time watching it.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, the recollection of the snow planet of Hoth, I think, stands out because it's so different than anything you really saw in A New Hope. But yeah, I think my memories of the original trilogy are all kind of pushed together, at least until I got older.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. It's all kind of just was a cool Star Wars story. But yeah, as I've become older, being able to separate them and kind of look back as an adult with appreciation for the different changes and things that it brought to the galaxy and to the franchise is really cool.
Nice. And like where would this rank among your favorite Star Wars movies?
Easily top 5. I don't know. I mean, I don't have like a definitive ranking written down, and I feel that every year when anniversaries come around and stuff, it kind of challenges the question. And shit, with Andor right now, I think that shoots Rogue One right into the middle of it. So then are we saying Star Wars or Skywalker Saga? But Empire Strikes Back's awesome. I think the pacing or the mapping of the movie, how you kind of start with the big battle sequence at the beginning, which after just seeing it in theaters reminds me a lot of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I think that was really cool and really different. So yeah, just a lot of fun new stuff. Leaving it on a cliffhanger leaves you wanting more.
The ultimate cliffhanger in many parts too. So
yeah.
But what about you, Ryan? Like, where would you rank? And real quick, and I'll just throw it for me real quick, is it's usually like, and I love everything, but it's Empire Strikes Back, and then there's really no list. It changes after Empire for me, but yeah. So
yeah, it's at my, like, if we're not including like TV shows, it's like my number 4 or 5.
Cool.
Yeah.
Top 5. I mean, it's easy to. It's better. I mean, top 5 out of like 12 movies is a good, percentage. So, yeah, like I said, yeah, number 1 for me, and the thing that I love specifically was like, as a kid growing up, you're used to watching like, well, A New Hope, it ends on the ultimate high note. And then growing up, you're watching, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and the heroes in these times are always, winning. So this was like the first time that actually, besides Transformers, a movie, but this was before it, where you actually see your heroes, the people you've learned to love and want to be like as a kid, taking major L's throughout the entire movie, and it's just something that you're not used to seeing, especially on the big screen. And like all those times you wanted to be Luke Skywalker growing up, and you're like, he has a bad time in this movie, so maybe I want to be Han Solo. He has an even worse time in this movie. So it's like, maybe I want to be a droid. Well, C-3PO gets blown up at the time, so
always Vader.
Always Vader, yeah. So no, that's just one thing I always loved about this movie. And also like just being, growing up with the Star Wars album, listening to the music, as iconic as like all those tracks were, the Throne Room, the original Princess Leia theme, the main theme. But this one, we got Yoda's theme, we got Vader's theme, we got Han and Leia's theme, we got Cloud City, Bespin's theme. And it's like, so everything that was from the first movie that was at a 10, I think everything got even amped up even higher in this one. And as dark as it was, you kind of go back to the original like thing of Star Wars or Rogue One, that, it's all about hope. And it ends, and as all the crap and shit that happened throughout this movie, it literally ended on hope for what's going to come next. So just so many good things about this movie. And I don't know, I was going to ask, favorite characters, just kind of a regular stuff. So Alex, any favorite particular characters, either new or old, that really
got to be Lando for sure.
Nice.
And Yoda. I mean, both of them are introduced in this film. So as far as like, the hall of Star Wars greats, Empire's always got to, be held for that, for the first appearance of those guys. But yeah, I always say representation matters. So seeing Lando Calrissian in the movie on the big screen, and at least to some degree being a good guy and part of the rebellion, and as he gets his face turned through the end, and as we'll see in Return of the Jedi, helping out and becoming a general and all that fun stuff. So I'd rock a cape to be Lando.
Nice. And I know I don't need to ask Ryan this question, but who is your favorite character in Empire Strikes Back?
This guy. I've just always loved Vader, and my favorite scene easily is when he cuts off Luke's hand. I just remember as a kid, like, he cut off his hand. Like, I just thought it was cool. I'm a little twisted, but yeah, I've always loved the dark side. I love Kylo Ren, love Darth Maul. So I've just always been a dark side guy. Yeah,
so definitely. I know it's a dumb question to ask, but
that's okay. I know we have to do it.
We got to do it. For me, it might be cheating, but nah, damn it. I was going to say the Millennium Falcon. This is some of the best Falcon we get in any movie, but I'll have to throw that in and just say, Han in this movie, and especially Han, piloting, because we got the Falcon in A New Hope, and we get talked about, I know some maneuvers and stuff, and it's the Family Guy joke. He lazily shifted to the left. Oh, what a maneuver, stuff like that. But for the first time, and you got to credit, especially watching like Light and Magic and the behind the scenes, the Industrial Light and Magic crew for making the Falcon do what it did in this movie, the dog chases and asteroids and all that stuff. And this is where we get my all-time favorite Star Wars track, the Asteroid Field, which was amazing. And can't believe, like, out of all this John Williams songs, kind of sidetrack here, out of all those John Williams tracks throughout his career, when we saw him at the Hollywood Bowl, you could only play so many. And the fact that they played this live was just like a chef's kiss for, anything. But yeah, I would say Han was definitely my favorite, plus the introduction of Boba Fett because he was so at this time was so mysterious. You didn't know what he was and who he was, and you know the backstories and stuff. So some cool stuff.
Now we know too much. Oh,
Like a Banta.
Yeah.
Which I love. Come on. But no, anything else that really like sticks out that you know something like favorite scenes that you guys like? I don't know. I'm weird. Sometimes I'll get home and I'll just put on movies just to watch like a certain scene or two. So any things that really stick out?
Yeah, no, I mentioned it before. Like when Luke gets his hand cut off and then he slides down the. I forget what those things are called. Kids have that like expand and it's like a circle tube and you can like crawl through it. But that's what the scene reminds me of. He's like sliding down one of those things.
Oh,
it's just like a little tunnel. But I had one as a kid that looked like that. So
where the kids are like hamsters, they just kind of crawl through the tunnels.
Yeah, pretty much.
So tube slide.
Yeah, like a cat tunnel, but for kids.
It looks like fun until you realize he's falling to the bottom of Cloud City.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I was just watching it before we put this, sat to record, and I love that scene because, he cuts his hand off, then tells him he's his father. He's like, "Nah, hell no way, you're my dad. You're an asshole. You're not my dad."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Come on, son, come and rule the galaxy with me." And of course, it reminds me of the. I'm sure someone's probably made it a meme. Rule the galaxy with my, evil father, or draw 25.
No.
But instead of draw 25, it was yeet yourself from the tower. And he yeeted. He said, "F that."
No, he definitely yeeted. So,
but this movie, as I mentioned earlier, it's cool because it's kind of paced differently in the 3 acts, where you start with the big battle sequence on Hoth, and then the team kind of splits up. You got Han, Leia, and C-3PO and Chewbacca, basically escaping from the Empire, while Luke goes to Dagobah and meets Yoda and is going through his little Jedi training and stuff until they finally come back together because Luke senses that they need to be saved. And, the big, heroic or attempted heroic sequence at Cloud City. For me, the little sequence where Yoda is training Luke and he does the flip and everything and is climbing up the vines with him on his back. That's a fun one to watch. The banter pretty much through the whole movie between Leia and Han. At points, I was going to say, in watching it so recently, there are points in the beginning with both Leia and Han, and then with Luke, I feel they're kind of overacted to the extent that this movie is a lot more polished than the original one was. And obviously they have, stakes and something to live up to on this one. But I think the way it all comes together and, where it sits in between everything else, it was perfect for what it was. A lot of great quotes, a lot of great banter, a lot of fun personalities in the movie.
Yeah, and I think I got ruined, though, for that whole Yoda training scene by that Seagulls video. Because every time I get to that scene, I just say,
I love that.
I could be a backpack while you run.
So, no, yeah, all of
when he does that too. Every time I watch the movie and he falls, I'm like, "That's that part. That's that part."
Oh, I forgot about that.
I love that. No, like all those things you mentioned, the Falcon flying into the giant worm, the space worm, and flying out, and just some of the shots. And one of the shots that really got me is after Han gets thrown into the carbonite. Just you see all the steam and stuff, and you just see Vader's mask just peering through the steam. That's like one of my all-time favorite Star Wars shots.
That's a cool shot.
But I think we're getting some weird transmission coming up here, though. I don't know what's going on. We're being hailed by something here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I hate Brenda, and a bad guy hit me in the shin, and I peed all on my pants. There's nothing a little music can't help. Rockin', rockin' and rollin'. Down to the beach, I'm strolling.
Probably one of the best ones.
I remember this part from the movie for sure.
I said, seagulls, stop it now. Everyone told me not to stroll on that beach. Said seagulls gonna come, hook me in a coconut, and they did, and they did, had me going like, nothing I could do but yeah. When these birds attacked me, when I tried to run, I fell, and then these kids started laughing, and then got hit in the neck with a hacky sack. Where'd it come from? Now run, run, run. I can be a backpack by you. Run, 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 jump and stop. Put me down.
All right. Don't want to get kicked off YouTube when this gets posted, but one of the best parodies ever.
That's a good one.
And I think you might have left Chicago by this time, but at Celebration, I was walking around one of the hallways and stuff outside the main showroom, and there was a guy that was dressed up like Luke and had the Yoda backpack, but then he had this like a baby mobile above Yoda that had seagulls on it, and then he had, then Luke had a coconut and a stick.
Nice.
I'm like, dude, that is the best cosplay I've seen.
That was cool.
And there's amazing cosplays there. So
Nice.
I don't even know where I was going. I got but I just totally brain farted. Sorry.
That's okay.
I got hit in the head with a hacky sack too, so I'm just kind of like.
Alex, have you seen this in theaters?
Yeah, when they did the re-releases around when the prequels came out, probably.
I've not seen this one yet in theaters.
I know. I just saw, and by the time this is oh no, I think we got a little bit of time. Grand Lake Theater in Oakland is hosting a free showing on the 21st, which is the 45th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. So if you're in Oakland, I believe Shoe Palace is hosting it. They've got prizes for the first 80 people there. It's free to all. So check that out if you're hearing this in time. May 21st at the Grand Lake in Oakland. One of the, grand, large movie houses of old, similar to the Coronet I've spoken about, where the original A New Hope premiered, or, was one of the few theaters to play it, and where my dad took me to see Phantom Menace, and
nice.
At least Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. But I got really choked up watching the new 3 episodes of Light and Magic, because there were a lot of clips of them at the Coronet watching those movies, specifically the parts when the I guess the animator or artist is talking about doing the CG Yoda and has his big moment with Palpatine where he gets his lightsaber out and starts doing the flips and everything. And the reaction from the crowd, how excited he got. I was like, that was so cool. And just kind of going back to that place. I don't think I was as rowdy as a lot of those people were because I was a little bit younger, but it was definitely cool to see. I remember seeing Yoda walk and fight for the first time.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember. I also saw this, like I said, I don't remember the original watching of it, and I believe my dad had to hold me in the lobby for most of the time because who takes a 2-year-old to a movie? I know a lot of people do, but
that's what I was gonna say when you said you were 2. I was like, man,
it was the 80s.
I'm taking my nephew to a movie.
It was the 80s, man. People didn't give it.
It was different things. They were probably smoking cigarettes in there and everything.
Probably.
When does Mando come out? Next May?
26. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a 4-year-old or 4-month-old to the movies.
No, you're not.
No, I won't take him. He can take one.
Consider.
But I did see, like Alex mentioned, the special edition releases, which they were all a month apart. And I mean, I remember the whole thing, but seeing this on the big screen was like any Star Wars on the big screen was awesome. And with a whole controversy with a lot of people with the special editions, Empire got the best enhancements in my opinion.
Yeah, the only thing I noticed was in Cloud City. What else is there?
Well, so Cloud City was definitely the biggest one because there was like no windows hardly in anywhere on the original. So everything looked very Tantive 4 inside. Everything was white.
No, they even got that exterior shot where you can see Leia standing inside.
Yeah.
It almost reminds you of stuff from Coruscant in the prequels.
Yeah. So the big thing that they really teased people with was the Wampa. Because
when he's sitting there eating?
Yeah, so that was new, and him screaming after his arm was cut off because all they had
that like restored though. It looks like old footage.
No, it was it was shot specifically for the special edition.
Wow.
So all they had was just you hear the noises in the background, and then you see Luke get the lightsaber, and you just see him the part where he's charging him.
Yeah.
That part, and then when the part where he attacked the Tauntaun and Luke, that was the only time you saw the Wampa. And then you saw the arm drop, kind of like the Walrus Man, in A New Hope. So they added the whole part of him eating, to make it more intense and seeing what's going on.
Shout out to the Wampas hockey team.
Yeah.
Is it the Nashville Wampas or what are they?
I think it's just I think so. I'm not sure.
Or some other local Tennessee town.
Yeah.
Apologies to the Wampas for not knowing your principality, but shout out. Hopefully John gets to see them.
Yeah, because Ryan was asking. That was a team that they sponsor the ICC Con. They're a beer league.
Oh, cool.
And they're a beer league hockey team in Nashville. And the 1 year they connected with Michael and everybody at ICC, they won the title for the first time. Whatever. So nice. I'm like, I want a Wampa jersey, but I want that. We'll talk about merch in a second because there's some fun stuff coming out. But no, yeah. So there's the Wampa scene. The extended Cloud City, especially the flying through the skyline. So any Falcon, more Falcon stuff is cool. I believe when you see Vader's shuttle when he takes off, because that was actually stock footage from Return of the Jedi. And just a little bit of dialogue. Then when it came out on DVD, they actually added Ian McDermott as Palpatine into the hologram because it was another hologram. So it was when the DVD set came out, it was the time they were filming Revenge of the Sith. So that's when they redubbed Boba Fett with Timur Morrison's voice.
Yeah.
And then they add the change dialogue with Palpatine and with Ian McDermott as Palpatine. So, but no, like you said, we get the ultimate Luke and Vader battle, and Han and Leia fall in love, and Han's frozen and taken in carbonite, and then we kind of end on that little hope note. And I love that they did this little joke in the Family Guy episode of this, where Brian's questioning how come Lando's wearing Han's clothes, because he's like, why is he wearing the same vest? Because he's dressed as in A New Hope Han Solo for some weird reason that didn't make sense, but I don't know. I just thought
he's wearing the same outfit Han wore in the first one.
Yeah,
that's funny.
So they,
but with a cape.
No, the cape was gone, and so watch the end again. You'll be like, oh yeah, then. But on the Family Guy episode, yeah, Brian's like, literally, he just got frozen. Why is he wearing his clothes and stuff? But
yeah, they didn't freeze him naked.
No, but then. We're kind of jumping. I mean, we don't need to. This isn't a breakdown. This is more of a celebration because it's 45 years. But I love watching the behind the scenes of George and Frank Oz talking, because so much and Mark Hamill because so much rode on this movie of if Yoda was going to be believable or not. And George was very specific. If the moviegoers do not buy Yoda being a real creature, then this movie's not going to work at all. And so, I mean, you got first of all, the people that made the mold and created Yoda, and then Frank Oz performing him to perfection. And like I said, and credit to Mark Hamill for having to interact with a puppet, so well, because this was brand new too at the time, that kind of connections and stuff. So the fact that Yoda did work it's a huge reason why this movie, I think, is also so successful. So,
according to IMDb in their trivia section, when Mark Hamill was having trouble with the Dagobah scenes with Yoda, Frank Oz brought in Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog to make him laugh.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's awesome.
Is there any footage of that?
What's that?
Is there any footage of that out there?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen any of it.
I gotta
First
check.
time I saw Yoda outtake was in the new season of Light and Magic. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a few in the original DVDs, like the hidden bloopers, and I haven't seen the Blu-ray set behind the scenes in a while, so I'm sure there's a little something, because they really show off just Frank Oz, which new Disney legend Frank Oz. One of my favorite stories too is like when they're shooting in Norway, it was so cold that they didn't even want to take the equipment outside, so the scenes were like Luke and Han, they're like walking in the snow and stuff. That was shot out the door from the hotel because everybody was inside the lobby, or not, whatever, where they're shooting. They're all huddled up right by the door and just shooting out. They're like, "Oh, you go out there. We're going to stay in here because it's too damn cold out there." So,
yeah, it sounds like it was an epic storm when they shot that.
Yeah, happens a lot with the original Star Wars, between the sandstorm on A New Hope and
snowstorms. During the filming of the Battle of Hoth, the Echo-based troops were actually Norwegian mountain rescue skiers. In exchange for participation in the movie, Lucasfilm made a donation to the Norwegian Red Cross.
Nice.
They should have had a better contract.
No kidding.
Some residuals or something.
We know in this movie, Leia is the one who gets the famous line, "I've got a bad feeling about this." Jim Henson, friend of George Lucas, was offered the role of Yoda. Henson turned it down as he was busy with The Great Muppet Caper. He recommended Frank Oz for the role.
That I did not know. That's amazing.
It says another of the asteroids is actually a potato. It appears just as the Millennium Falcon first enters the field. 2 asteroids travel from the top left to bottom right corner of the screen. Just after the second asteroid leaves the screen, the third one appears in the top left corner. This is the potato.
Nice.
The sound of Darth Vader's meditation chamber opening is reportedly a recording of a whole block of Alcatraz cell doors slamming shut.
Huh. Right outside of Lucasfilm and Skywalker Ranch, so it makes sense.
Right.
I mean, for the first time, even seeing Vader as like a human, we see the back of his head all, just
sizzled.
Yeah, sizzled up and cuts and everything, and seeing the helmet go on. That was kind of trippy as a kid seeing that. Because I don't know, I always thought Vader was a robot, when you're, 4 or 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that, what he's wearing is a life support system, not just a mean guy looking suit. Got some more fun facts?
Yeah, I'm looking for like the shorter ones, but The sound of Vader's helmet being lowered onto his body was the sound of someone putting their hand over a vacuum tube while it was still sucking in dust. Sound effects on Minox were created by playing horse noises backwards.
That's pretty clever.
Boba Fett is never referred to by name in this movie. He is always referred to as the bounty hunter by other characters. However, a deleted scene included in the Blu-ray set shows Leia tending to Luke's wounds and says a bounty hunter named Boba Fett has taken Han Solo.
That's interesting. I liked how they called him the bounty hunter, because it kind of goes back to like how they just call Mandalorian, Din Djarin just Mando, kind of the same thing. What's up?
This Billy D. Williams said that whenever he picked up his daughter from elementary school, children would start arguments with him. They accused him of betraying Han Solo. That's great. I started watching a little bit of, I guess, what was probably just a really early documentary on the making of this movie. So much so I could only make it through about 20 minutes because it's a lot of just like clips without any sort of dialogue.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, the director, he kept saying that this was more of a fairy tale than sci-fi. You know, he's saying with sci-fi, you had to like, you know, make sure you're doing things that are scientifically correct. Otherwise, the characters will die. But in a fantasy, you just do whatever, or a fairy tale. So I thought that was interesting that he approached it with that sort of mentality.
Yeah, and shout out to the director, Ivan Kershing, because Lucas, after everything he went through doing the original Star Wars, he's like, I don't want to deal with studios and stuff, but you know, he's got so much more of a story to tell. So I mean, he was just the writer and the producer, which I don't say just because the producer is the one that calls all the shots, even over the directors. So, but he did hire Ivan, which was his college film school teacher, and he knew he would be able to hit the emotional tones that was, you know, coming, which he did. So, great choice having him as a directing this film, which is a very definitely complicated film to want to do because, of course, people, like I said, want to see the heroes, you know, win again, and that's not part of the story. So, yeah, great stuff. I mean, like I said, everything about this is just a classic. So, and including, I mentioned the music. My favorite, because one of my favorite things to listen to in any Star Wars soundtrack is the finale scene and the ending credits, because you usually get a good mashup of the main themes per each movie. But this one is my favorite, starting with like the Rebel fleet, and you get the whole thing of hope. You get Han and Leia's theme played throughout, the Force theme. Then it gets, you know, to the fanfare. Then you get, you know, Yoda's theme, Vader's theme, and then just it's got the best finale part of the finale, which they've used in multiple trailers and current fireworks shows now too. So, yeah, this is my favorite film finale that nobody cares about except for myself. So, I mean, about it being my favorite, I know people like it too.
We care.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But as we're celebrating the 45th of this, of course, merchandise is going to be popping up at Hot Topic and, you know, Fox Lunch and everywhere. But we care about what we're going to see at the parks and Disney Store. So I know I'm going to show this short little video. There's not going to be audio on it because don't want to get sued by Taylor Swift. But there's some cool stuff coming out. So I'll have Alex describe what we're seeing here.
Yeah, shout out to Ordinary Magical Life with the underscores for the visuals here. But yeah, we got an awesome set. Look at that AT-AT Walker. That looks sick. 45th anniversary Empire Strikes Back. There's like a, I don't know, varsity jacket with the scroll on the back. I want that crew neck sweater. Looks really cool. Some nice classic looking ears, some mouse ears. Where we are. There's my Tauntaun hat right there. That looks cool. There's the Tauntaun hat, Ryan.
I like the hat. That's a kid's jacket.
That's May the 4th. These are May the 4th things, but
oh yeah,
still cool.
I'll keep it playing as we talk because the little R2 hat.
Yeah, it was like was that a backpack? Oh, now there's
that's a cool
more pouring it on. It's like Kylo Ren. More.
Real quick, these down here, the AT-ATs, those look like the micro galaxy that I. Oh no, they're not.
18 and up down there. So you got to be able to drink to operate this.
I thought
gas powered, a gas powered AT-AT.
I'm gonna find that.
So this jacket's kind of like a bomber jacket, I guess, but the front of it is this is a special edition poster for Empire Strikes Back.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. You can't see it, but it looks like it's got right here on the cuff, above the cuff, we'll have the 45th logo. Then the crawl that Alex read earlier this episode. I would like this on a shirt, but maybe because I've seen your Walt Disney speech shirt done in the crawl, and I like it in the front, but it's cool. Because I would like the poster on the back and maybe the anniversary logo on like a chest or something, but that's just me. I know this will sell it pretty good. Here's the crew neck that
is that the original poster?
One of them, yeah.
There's your boy, the Falcon in the back, looking all dominant on there too.
Yeah, with X-wings and yeah,
They got a cool Empire 45th magic band too. It's not in that video, but I'm just looking to.
Yeah, that you could get on the store too. So I like the hat. I like the crest of it. Plus, they're going to have multiple pins and everything. The ears. So the ears is okay. I can't rewind it. So the first ear was the original poster, and then the other ear, the left ear, is the special edition poster. Then in the middle has the with a bow has the 45th crest. Yeah. Oh, there you go. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I might have to get those for Courtney. So.
No, you get them for yourself, man.
Yeah, I might get this for myself. So I have to get that. That's an amazing hat.
That is an awesome hat.
It would go with the popcorn bucket.
He's coming.
But cool stuff. I'm sure there's more. This will be available. Is it available now as of recording, or?
I'm assuming those look to be pictures of things in the Star Trader. So yeah,
nice.
They're out now. Go get them and get me a Tauntaun hat and a crew neck sweatshirt. Nice. It did not show the beer stein, which that was posted on the the Disney Parks blog post or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys will all see it from us sometime in the future. One of us is getting that cup. It looks like ice too. So, it'd be a perfect frozen mug. My frozen Hoth.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Different kind of frozen.
We got one post from Instagram.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find, maybe I don't have the mug, but it's okay. I'll be taking photos and videos, but we did. I get there. Let me pull it up real quick. We did do a post of people's favorite memories, and we got a comment for our good friend Mike 8420. Shout out to. I was just thinking. I kind of went back to some memory posts were coming up from May the 4th and early Star Wars month of when during COVID we did the not live stream, but we were watching each trilogy per day because Rise of Skywalker just came out on Blu-ray. So I think on was it Friday? Because there's COVID, so nobody was working. We did the prequel trilogy. Saturday was the original trilogy, and then Sunday we did the sequel trilogy, all while live tweeting and stuff. And Mike and Janessa were joining in on that, so that was awesome. So he comments for the next. That's what I wrote. That was my question, not comment. So he's like, I have so many favorites from this movie, but one I really love is when the Silver Protocol droid tells C-3PO, Ichuta, when he sees him on Cloud City. I always laugh so hard at that scene. So, which we've come to hear that Ichuta in a couple of the shows as of recently. I don't know if it's like Book of Boba Fett or even Andor. I'm not sure, but I like when we get those little throwback swears. But that was the only question we got. Thanks, Mike. And gotta get you guys on the show. And I love this poster that I found to share the post. It's kind of a take on the original poster. It's not the original, but it's like I said, a version of it, or kind of like a little tribute. So
it looks like that Vader that Hot Toys just released with the light already on it.
Yeah, and you can't really tell, but right here, I got this at Chicago. I should have brought it out, but it's almost like the Empire poster, but it's from the view of Cloud City rather than Hoth that the original poster is based off. So it's got like Luke and like all the characters, the way they're positioned in the original poster on Hoth are just like slightly altered to different directions. The Falcon, Vader too, but it's that orange tint, which I love just the visuals of Bespin and Cloud City, especially like at sunset. So that's what that little picture is. That didn't come out very good on that, so I don't even know. I tried to share it or explain it, but I love it because it's awesome. But I think unless there's anything you guys want to add, or
no, just meanwhile in other parts of the galaxy, we're hiring. We're building something big, so come apply within. for the Empire. Got a big job to do. This
Yes.
is all while Empire is going on.
Absolutely. And speaking of even stuff with the Empire going on, we're going to talk about, like I said, we're going to talk about Andor once it comes to a halt and really get into it. But man, that third arc, I'll just start. I've said this on a couple shows, but you put that on the movie. That's one of the all-time classic Star Wars movies.
Don't get me started, man.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to unloading about this show. The show was amazing. That third arc was amazing, and it's got me mad. At first, I was like, why would I want to watch Andor on the big screen and then watch Rogue One? Because like Andor is really the culmination of what we've already learned. But as we've started to see that Andor is going to change the way you see so many things in Rogue One.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's going to be something. Now I'm mad that I'm going to have to wait a year for it.
Oh yeah. And one thing we found out of one of my Mando show co-hosts that there's been talks that there's been a Gilroy cut of this second season, which will kind of cut it into just a movie length, and that might be streamed with Rogue One next year for the 10th, like a double feature.
Yeah. And
then I'm like, dude, why stop there? Make it a trilogy and end it with A New Hope, because it ends on the high note that we were talking about in this one. Everything that happened in Andor, Rogue One leads to the victory of A New Hope, which I think would be amazing trilogy and just like a different look at that. So, but we'll see. Yeah, damn good show. Cannot wait to see the finale. Sad that it's already done though because of the 3 episode drops, but it's great storytelling. It's peak storytelling. So, but we'll be talking about that on the next Star Wars Month show, along with, like I said, the unboxing video. I just found out YouTube Shorts are also longer now. They can be up to 3 minutes. So I'm going to start posting more shorts. If you guys have any content to share on there, I mean, just quick little even rants or just whatever's, leading up to Walt's arrival. So all the good stuff. But yeah, like just ending. I love this film, all-time favorite, and yeah. And it led into, sorry, I was going to bring this up before, and I won't waste too much time on it, but because of this movie, we got one of the few books I actually read, and it turned into a giant Nintendo game and storyline, but Shadows of the Empire. I don't know if you guys ever got into any of that, but I forget who the author was, but it takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, when Luke, Leia, Chewie, Lando, they're planning to meet Boba, not meet, but like grab him when he gets to Tatooine to drop off Han. But then at the same time, Boba Fett's being chased by other bounty hunters, because they want the reward. So he's diverting his, different areas and stuff. So that's why it kind of takes 3 years for Return of the Jedi to catch up, because people didn't know why how come it took 3 years between Empire to Return in the timeline. It wasn't even going straight to Jabba's, and there's that Shizor, which was pissed at Vader for pretty much destroying the planet, but he finds out Luke's his son, so he's trying to gain. It's just a great story, but he's trying to gain.
This is a novel.
Yeah, but it's they just released an audiobook. This was a video game on like Nintendo 64. Because we meet another Han Solo-like character, Dash Rendar, and he gets hired. It's a great story, and they had action figures, they had comic books, and so yeah, like I said, it all takes place based on the events of Empire Strikes Back. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. If you're a slow reader like me, like I said, they just redid the audio book version, so I'm going to listen to that very soon. So let us know, but. We will be back next week with another fun show, talking about ICC Con, hearing from our DU crew member and friend John, baseball beer loving buddy, and then we're really going to nerd out on Andor. So, and we'll let you guys know if it's going to be live or not. We're hoping to make it live, just because these shows started off live, but we'll see what we can do, but we'll let you guys know. Definitely pay attention to our socials, which are once again, Ryan.
Our socials. Sorry. You can find us on, or you're watching us on YouTube at the DUTV. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Disney Universe Podcast. And if you'd like to listen to our more Disney episodes, you can head over to Spotify and look up the Walt's Apartment Production.
Right on. And one more goodbye to our DU crew, Alex.
Yes, thank you to the most important people in our galaxy. I can't wait to talk about Andor with y'all. If you should, at least John. But I hope all you guys are watching because it's been so much fun for me. And whatever you guys are doing for your Star Wars month, we're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're part of the DU crew. So shout out to Tyler, Alfredo, John, Wedge, Jacob, Salah, and Florida Jen. You guys are the best. And if you want to be part of the best, that is the DU crew. Patreon.com/DU crew. Join. Please, do it.
Do it.
I got a good feeling about that.
Awesome. And we'll see you guys next week. So I was, signing off for Alex and Ryan. I'll just say blah, 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 blah. My thoughts exactly.